I saw you address something on Men in Blazers that I think is it's really an international issue, and it's the fact that there will not be beer sold inside the stadiums at the World Cup. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that, yes, so people will not be drinking beer while watching football at the World Cup. I'm not quite sure that football can exist without beer. I'm not actually sure that it will be any good without beer, and it will certainly change the crowd atmosphere at the football. I think we'll see less English people going to the World Cup, certainly, because I'm not sure they're able to go 90 minutes and a half time without beer. I think they kind of depend on it like water or oxygen. But it's going to be a very, very different World Cup. And certainly the sponsors, Budweiser, have got to be asking some questions about the value of their global sponsorship.
Well, I am looking forward to the World Cup. Obviously, it's one of the great sporting events that we get to experience as fans, but also because we're in the same group this year, buddy. You got to deal with the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time. The U.S. have been in the same group as England in 2010 as well, and I'm sure somebody's going to call in and remind us about 1950, Belo Horizonte. Look, this is the one thing I'd say. The group stage is really not where you make or break it in a World Cup. I expect both teams to get out of the group stage just as they did in 2010. The other teams in that group, Iran, Wales, they're going to be good, but they're not at the level of the U.S. or England. U.S. and England just need to take it easy, not expend too much energy on each other, and just get through the group stage. I anticipate that they will draw. I'm calling it right now, Ben. The U.S. and England will draw in the second game for both nations at the World Cup. That will be a fine result for both countries, and they'll sort it out in their first games and their third games against Iran and Wales.
World Cup predictions in July with Michael Davies on the Rich Eisen Show. I like it. Ben Lyons filling in for Rich. As someone who has grown up around the game, who loves the game, and is now documenting the game at the highest level with Men in Blazers, it must bring you so much joy when you see Angel City sell out in LA, 22,000. When you see the MLS close a huge TV deal, just the popularity of soccer. They always say soccer is the sport of the future in America. It's been that way the last 20 years. But it has to be having a moment, and you have to be recognized, and it must bring you a lot of joy, I would imagine, as a fan of the game.
Yes, soccer, America's sport of the future, as it has been since 1972. That's what my partner in pod, Roger Bennett, always says. And the future, which is now, is incredible. Watching how Angel City are doing in Los Angeles, really setting up to try and become the most important women's club in the world, and off to a pretty good start, you'd have to say, in LA. The TV rights deal for MLS, I think at Apple, I think that's a fantastic deal. Young Americans, playing in elite European leagues. Very good and sometimes elite European clubs, and not just one or two of them, like handfuls of American players playing at these clubs. These are very, very good times for American soccer. The sport has grown a lot. I kind of love the fact that it's sort of happened a little bit under the radar. To some extent, I love how other soccer is in America. And I love people who don't like soccer at all, who think it's useless. I actually maybe prefer American sports fans who loathe soccer to American sports fans who love it. I sort of relate more somehow. I don't know why.
It's like when your favorite band becomes really popular, you get angry that they're now selling out stadiums when you remember seeing them in that tiny little joint. Yeah, that way back when.
Yeah, no, that's true. But there is that moment where you love a band and then you go to the concert and you look around and look at the fellow fans and think, oh God, what a bunch of losers. I would much rather be with the people who don't like that band at all. But yeah, I like how other it is. I like how different it is. It's a very different sport in America. I often say that if there were a middle-class World Cup, America would win it very, very quickly because our middle-class kids are probably better than any other middle-class kids at soccer in the world. It's a very different crowd that watch soccer in America than watch soccer in other countries, without a doubt.